Hi everyone, this is Linda, and the request kind of came in to talk about how do I create an end-to-end kind of quilt design that I can do in the hoop. So this is just a real basic one. It's not perfect. It's probably just gives you enough to get you started. So let's go. We need to really use Create to do this, because trying to do this in using the wizard, for example, in Express Design, what happens is if you want to do that, the only choice you have is a double, triple, or a satin stitch, and we don't want to do that. We actually want this to be a row of single stitches that starts at one end and ends at the other, so that you can actually then change the hoop or in the hoop and move on. So we're going to go and actually go to Create, and that's the little flower icon down there at the bottom. And I'm going to do a new one. I don't want to save that particular one. That was my experiment. And I'm just going to take and load a picture into the paint window. So just so that I have a picture. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scan a drawing I made. Now, when you do your drawings, you want to make sure your drawing starts and ends on the same parallel line. So when I get here, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to select it, and we're going to let it scan. And I like to do a preview just so I can kind of see that I've got what I really want to have. And there it is. And that's okay. I'm not going to worry about that. Now it's actually going to do the scan. You're going to end up with this. So I don't mind this right now. We're going to do some changing here. Now what I did when I created this is I just took an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and drew in 1 inch all the way around, just to kind of give me a little bit of room for margin. And then what I did is, so this measurement from here to here is 9 inches. From this point to this point is 6.5 inches. 8.5 by 11 minus 2 inches for either side. So we're just going to kind of give you that just so that you can kind of see this. But you notice that this beginning point or this beginning point, whichever, are both on the same quadrants, or basically the same spot, so that when you line this next one up, it's going to line up right here. So let's do next. And I need to rotate this by 90 degrees because it's easier to do this when it's sewing left to right. So it's going to begin here and it's going to end here. So when I'm doing this is I go to the next one, and this kind of gives you a quick illusion. So this would be matched up right to that point, and it would continue on. So I only need to get the actual drawing, and I just did this as a freehand drawing, nothing fancy. And I'm just going to take and drag these in. I don't want that outside box to be part of my information, but I do need to have the whole thing, or at least really close. If you notice what's on the left side, what's in those boxes there are also what's over here on the right, and I'm lost all those outside edges, which is good. We're going to hit next. I'm going to use the 260 by 200 hoop, and you want to change that hoop size first as soon as you go in here. Now I'm going to enter my design size. Now I told you that this was an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and so I removed 1 inch from either side, and that gives me some room within the hoop itself to manipulate if I need to once I move my fabric. So I have 6.5 would be from this point to this point, and 9 from this point to this point. So I'm going to change my size, and I can actually type in 9 inches and it will convert it automatically to millimeters. And if you notice, with this selected, again, change your hoop, do enter hoop size, then do this part. So do next. I only need 2 colors. I don't need all those grays and things that happen when you scan something in. I'm going to hit finish. And this is my drawing. Now, I'm not going to go through and use draw to actually create all this. I'm actually going to go over to Precise Create. And I've got running stitch selected. There's no pattern fill selected. I have running stitch selected. I'm going to go to fill area and line, and I'm going to make sure that it's set for like a 3.0, which is about what you need to have. And then I'm going to go, and I don't see it here. So to see it, I want to go back to the view tab, and I had it hidden earlier. So I brought it back out so I can actually see it. So again, back to precise create, running stitches selected, fill area and line is already decided on. And then I'm going to go through and start clicking, and I'm going to just start clicking as I go all the way around this. So I've got most of this done, and I'm going to come around here and I'm just going to finish it up. If you notice, some of the lines didn't match exactly, but that's okay. The only person that's not going to know that it's not matching the exact design is going to be you. So now you want to make sure that you're down here on this other end, and you want to click so that, and I like to try and make sure it's right on the line, and then I can actually right mouse click, and I now have it. One more mouse click, right mouse click again, and see all my little dots? I can actually move these nodes if I want that to really match really well, but it's not that big a deal. And I want to make sure that this one is actually on the line. And if I go and I hide the picture in my background, this is what it looks like. Okay, so now I can kind of make these smoothed out, and I can just drag these around so they kind of look pretty. I don't care really about that drawing. That drawing was more just to kind of give me something to start with. I could actually take this and move this out like this. And the only thing you want to watch for is that it doesn't expand past that point and past that point. So if you want to make it really easy on yourself, you could actually stop it right there at that grid line and stop this one at this grid line. And then you know that this needs to be in just a little bit. And then what's going to happen is this is ready to sew. So I'm going to actually show you how this sews out. So we're going to hit the player. I know it's not real fancy, but you can do about anything you want. It's just a bunch of squiggle lines that I just put together on a piece of paper and scanned in. And so I'm just it's going to continue on just like that. And it's going to end. What happens with Create is it automatically puts a trim and then automatically does the knot at the beginning and the end. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually take this now, this drawing, and I could put it in as an EDO, and I could do my save as and save it as an EDO. I don't care about that right now, but you can do that if you want. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to come down here, this little drop down, and I'm going to hit copy embroidery. And so what I want to do now is I'm going to come back to my regular software. I'm going to just do new window. And I want my hoop to be 260 by 200, but I want it to be turned natural. And I'm going to do paste. So there's my drawing. But to help me line things up, now I could try and line things up when I move my fabric, or I could actually, again, go to the Wizards tab, do Endless, and I will set that up so that I can line things up nice and pretty. I'm going to do OK. And if I do my stitch out here, if you notice, it's going to have these little, it's going to put those little marks, and it's going to stitch out. And then again, it's going to put those two marks, one at either side, so that I can line things up again and move forward. And that's all there is to it. So you could do about anything you wanted for your quilt design. Just remember that it is going to tie a knot here and continue on, and then probably tie a knot in here. I didn't actually sew this out, but if you want to get rid of this, just shut off your jump stitch trim command, and it's just going to continue on. And you notice these colors over here on the side. This is my first matchup and this is my last matchup, so it needs to, those things need to be there. So if you want, you don't want to color sort this, you don't want to do anything, you just want to do that. Now you can do your export, and then you can do your save as and your export, and you would have it. Thanks for watching.